Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jaya Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami, avatu me. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami, avatu me. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami, bhavatu me. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Jaya Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath. Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Sing a little louder so I can hear you. Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jai Sachinandana, Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hari, Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hari. Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hari, Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga. Jai Nityananda Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Nityananda Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Nityananda Bol. Gaur Nityananda Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Nityananda Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Shri Advaita Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Shri Advaita Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Gadadhar Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Gadadhar Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Shri Shivas Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Shri Shivas Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Shishivas bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Gaur Shishivas bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Devi, Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Devi, Jaya Sudarshana. Nitai Gaur, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All Nitai Gaur Premanande. Louder, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Nila Chala Chandra Shri Jagannath Deva Ki Jai. Shri Gundichak Mandir Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. Shri Braj Gopi Gan Ki Jai. Jai Vrishabhanu Nandini Shrimati Radharani Ki Jai. Shri Vrishabhanu Nandini Shrimati Radharani Ki Jai. Ashtashaki Shiromani Shrimati Radharani Ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastacha Deshatarane Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Iti Namane Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudakshama Daurya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirsha Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padabja Dritaika Hridi Chaitanya Lilam Rita Sarasaram Narayanam Tam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Iti Namane Namo Vishnu Padaya Acharya Singha Rupane Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshaviti Namane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namane Namo Gaura Kisharaya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padambujaya Te Nama Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varaya Te Gaura Virbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhauma Shri Jagannataya Te Namaha Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Mahabhajanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tise Namaha Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalamashanashaya Chanava Pataye Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satchavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Asto Tarasata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Astatarasata, Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata, Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat Pranams at the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. Hare Krishna. So this is the Jagannath Rath Yatra season. Yes. It goes on for about a month, from the Snana Yatra through Rath Yatra and all. So during this time, if we don't make an effort to hear and chant and remember about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's performance of Rath Yatra, Leela and pastimes, then our observance of Jagannath Rath Yatra is very small. Because who can understand the Rath Yatra festival without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? The Jagannath Rath Yatra festival has been going on since the Satya Yuga, isn't it? Because we have heard that King Indradyumna was in the Satya Yuga. So how many millions of years is that? You know, we're looking at like 4 million years ago. So the exact history is not completely known about Lord Jagannath and how many millions of years, but we understand that it's from Satya Yuga. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only appears once in a whole day of Brahma, 1,000 Yuga cycles. And he just so happened to have appeared this Kali Yuga. So this is the Danya Kali Yuga. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended, and he descended along with all of his eternal associates, who were all associated with him in Goloka Vrindavan, in his pastimes as Radha and Krishna. But now he's descended as Radha and Krishna combined together, a very, very confidential form of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And it only comes once in 8.6 billion years. Not million, billion years. Extremely rare. This is the Kali Yuga in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared right here in Sri Navadvip Dham and Sri Mayapur, the Yoga Peeth, the house of Jagannath Mishra, Mother Sachi. And all of his associates, they all appeared around here. Hundreds and hundreds of their eternal associates. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas are filled with the most incredible spiritual power. And they're filled with sweetness and audaryata. So much magnanimity. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his Navadvip Leela for 24 years, everyone became completely immersed in Mahaprabhu's singing and dancing. That was going on continuously from the very beginning, after he returned back from Gaya. And he had taken initiation from Sri Ishwara Puripad. And now his whole mood began to change from Nimai Pandit to Bhavuk Nimai. Now Nimai is Bhavuk. Now he is overwhelmed with bhavs. And this did not stop until he completed his pastimes in Jagannath Puri at the age of 48 years old. Bhavuk Nimai. So amidst all of Mahaprabhu's amazing leelas and pastimes, his dancing and singing at the Ratha Yatra festival is one of his topmost displays. Why? Because there are lakhs and lakhs of people. I don't know if they had millions of people back then. Now they have a few million people that come. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing at the Ratha Yatra is so amazingly described by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, 13th chapter, Madhya Leela. And in the chapter before that, 12th chapter, the cleansing of the Gundicha Mandir is also described there very vividly. How Mahaprabhu was so overwhelmed in ecstasy. And he was crying tears and cleansing the altar of Jagannath. And even his tears were being used to cleanse the altar. So that pastime, the day before Ratha Yatra, Mahaprabhu was in a very exuberant mood, because now he will be able to have the darshan of Lord Jagannath. And then the next day, the actual Ratha Yatra day, on that morning, then Mahaprabhu and all of his associates, they watched the Pandu Vijay ceremony. That's the ceremony of carrying Jagannath by the Dayatas. The Dayatas very strong, and they're all descendants from, what's the name again? Vishvavasu, who was looking after the deity form of Krishna as Nilamadava. And then that whole story about how the king sent his messengers to search for Nilamadava. And what was the name again of the one who found him there? And then he married the daughter, Padmavati, of Vishvavasu. Remember his name? Something Pati. I can't recall also right now. But anyway, for all these millions of years, the descendants of these two lines, descending from those who kept Shabara. You know what Shabara? That caste, they keep pigs. They're not very high class. But the caste and the dynasty coming down from the other Pati is, this is Brahmin, a Brahmin line. So to the present day, the descendants of both of those lines, they're all worshipable and considered to be very intimate associates of Lord Jagannath. So while Lord Jagannath is going through his sickness pastimes, those particular Dayatas, the ones who carry him, and who have descended from that line, Vishvavasu's line, they take care of Jagannath during those 2 weeks. And they administer different types of potent drugs to help Lord Jagannath regain his health in the form of fruit juices, actually. But they're considered to be beautiful, wonderful Ayurvedic remedies and so forth. So, the Jagannath Ratha Yatra festival prior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, what? Hello? It's Amazon? Parcel, yeah, Amazon. Okay, coming. Okay. What did I just say? The last point? Prior to Mahaprabhu's appearance, Yes, I'm coming. I am coming. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes. So, prior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, the Ratha Yatra festival was only understood as an excursion of Lord Jagannath. As an excursion of Lord Jagannath, after the Snana Yatra, he became ill. Now he needs to have some wide open spaces and so forth. So Lakshmi Devi gives her permission that he can go off on this excursion with his brother and sister. Yes. So, but no one understood the inner deep meaning of Ratha Yatra. No one understood until Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested this lila. And Rupa Goswami also could understand the cryptic verse, Yakkomara Hara, that verse that Mahaprabhu sang. What was the meaning? And how this was indicating that Radha and Krishna were again meeting. Where, Maharaj? Huh? At Kurukshetra. They're again meeting. So, this festival is actually Srimati Radhika and the gopis pulling Krishna on their heart, on the chariot of their hearts, with their ropes of the highest prem, and bringing him back to Vrindavan from Kurukshetra. And they succeed to bring him to Vrindavan in the form of what? The Gundicha Mandir. It is Vrindavan. And Mahaprabhu's dancing and singing is Srimati Radhika's moods of bringing Krishna there. No one understood this ever before. And even today, unless they're coming in contact with the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, they don't understand this lila, this pastime. But Mahaprabhu revealed everything. Rupa Goswami opened up all of that. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he writes an amazing, wonderful dialogue in that Ratha Yatra chapter. But he does it twice. He does it in chapter 2, Madhya Lila, because he's not sure that he'll be able to complete the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita because he was very old. His hand was shaking as he was writing. Luckily he completed it, but he wanted to give a summary of all the pastimes of Madhya Lila, Ancha Lila, and he did that in the second chapter of Madhya Lila. And there is the very detailed explanation of Rupa Goswami's verse that he wrote. The verse that he wrote as a commentary on what? Yeah, go ahead. As a commentary on what? The verse that he wrote as a commentary on what? On the verse Yakkomara Hara that Mahaprabhu was singing. And then in the 13th chapter, again, Krishnadas Kaviraj says, I have already explained this in the second chapter. But now, I'm going to give some further elucidation. And he describes the conversation between Radha and Krishna at Kurukshetra. So, and the singing and the dancing of Mahaprabhu is very vividly explained by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his purports that Srila Prabhupada is quoting. and also Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They're explaining what is the significance of the cart stopping and starting, and what is the significance of Mahaprabhu singing and dancing in 7 kirtan parties that he formed. 7 kirtan parties, 4 of them in the front and the side, and 3 of them in the rear of the cart, surrounding the entire cart. And Mahaprabhu manifested his mystic powers, as he did in the rasa dance, of expanding himself into millions of Krishnas to dance with millions of gopis. But here he expanded himself into 7 forms. 7 forms. But no one could see this except a few of the internal devotees, associates of Mahaprabhu. They could see. And not only that, but the king of Puri, Maharaj Prataparudra, he was given the vision that he could see. How Mahaprabhu was dancing in all 7 parties simultaneously. So that Ratha Yatra chapter and the Gundicha Marjan chapter, they explain how the king of Puri wanted to have darshan of Mahaprabhu. And there's a whole discussion there, a lengthy discussion there. Lengthy discussion is there. Because the king of Puri was very desperate. And he was trying to get the help of Mahaprabhu's associates to convince Mahaprabhu. But all the associates were afraid to ask Mahaprabhu. Because why? Because he might do something drastic and become very angry and upset. But nevertheless, Lord Nityananda started to try to soften Mahaprabhu. And then Ramananda Roy also came, and he also began to soften Mahaprabhu. So eventually, first of all, Mahaprabhu agreed to give his outer garment, his bahirvas. And when the king received that, now his heart was so soothed. His heart was completely soothed by knowing that Mahaprabhu is accepting him and allowing him to have his bahirvas. And then, the next thing that occurred is what? You remember?
The son?
Yes, the son of the king. And Mahaprabhu himself actually mentioned this. And Mahaprabhu agreed to meet the son of the king. Now, the son of the king was very young. He was just budding teenage. And he looked very beautiful. It describes he was dark colored, and he was dressed in Vaishnava dress, and also with different decorations and so forth. And this aroused Mahaprabhu's spontaneous love for Krishna. And he gave an embrace to the son. And the son became overwhelmed in ecstasy and began to shed tears and all different ashtasattvic, all different transformations of ecstasy in the body of the son. And all the devotees were astonished. From that day forward, they considered this son of the king to be a very exalted personality, because he received all of Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy. So Mahaprabhu, there's many more details, but I'm just giving a summary. Mahaprabhu agreed to that, and when the son went back to the king and he embraced his son, now he felt the embrace of Mahaprabhu. So, how would the king somehow or other come to be able to meet Mahaprabhu personally? Well, there was a plan. And Lord Jagannath also had a plan, that he would make it possible. So what happened? At the very beginning, when Lord Jagannath was being brought from his throne in the temple, and being brought up onto the cart. The king of Puri was there with a broom to sweep, and it had a golden handle. And in front of Lord Jagannath, the king was taking the menial service of a street sweeper for Jagannath. When Mahaprabhu saw that, you know what it did? It melted Mahaprabhu's heart. And now he resolved that he was going to give his mercy to the king. So there was a plan. Who made the plan? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He came up with a plan. What was that plan? The plan was that, well, first of all, when Mahaprabhu was doing his ecstatic dancing, you know, during that time, and the king was overwhelmed, and actually all the Vaishnavas were watching, and they had made 3 circles, like holding arms, very strong devotees. The first circle around Mahaprabhu to protect from the crowds of people. The first was guided by Nityananda Prabhu, Baladev himself. The second one was guided by who? I forget now. But the third one was the king and his servants. So they also made the third circle. So there, at the third circle, when Mahaprabhu was performing his dancing in the middle of that one circle, with all the kirtan singers and everything, then the king became completely astonished. And Srivas Thakur was also watching. And Srivas Thakur could also see. But Srivas Thakur was kind of standing a little bit in front of the king with these circles, you know. And the general, the military general of Maharaj Prataparuja was named Hari Chandan. And Hari Chandan was standing like somewhat next to the king. And he saw that Srivas Thakur was blocking. So he tried to tap him on the shoulder and also kind of nudging him, you know. And Srivas Thakur was, what is going on? What is happening here? But he kept on nudging and trying to make him move. Then Srivas Thakur turned around and he slapped the general. And then he turned back. And the general was like ready to like pounce on him. But the king said, no. Just hold on. You don't know what kind of mercy you just received. To be touched by the hand of Srivas Thakur, you are very fortunate. So then another incident happened while Mahaprabhu was dancing and singing. And you know, because Mahaprabhu was moving from one group to another, and Nityananda Prabhu and Mukunda singing, and Nityananda was trying to catch Mahaprabhu whenever he would crash to the ground like this. But at this point, none of them were there when Mahaprabhu crashed to the ground. And he was like right in front of the king. And then the king bowed down and began to try to pick him up. But then suddenly Mahaprabhu came to his external senses. And he said, oh, fie on me. I've been touched by a materialist. And the king felt very, very, you know, startled in his heart. So, but later, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came and told her, don't worry. Mahaprabhu is very pleased. You have won his favor. You have won his favor. He's very pleased. So don't worry. He was only showing this to teach his associates. So now, as the Ratha Yatra festival continued, and Mahaprabhu was singing all of his different verses, the different shlokas that he was singing, you know. And at first, what was the first verse that he sang in front of Jagannath to address Jagannath? What? What? Yes, that verse. Yes. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So he sang that verse. He sang another shloka, which was written by Mukundamala Stotra. From there, Jayati Devaki Nandano, so starts like that. And then the next verse was from the 10th canto, of Srimad Bhagavatam. How does that start? Do you remember? It was Jayati Jananivaso Devaki Janmadvado. So that verse Mahaprabhu also sang. And Mahaprabhu was also raising his arms in the air. And what was he saying? Manima! 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 You know what that means in the Oriyan language? Huh? It means like, oh, how great you are. All glories to you. Manima! Manima! So he's saying that toward Jagannath. And so in this way, the dancing and singing went on all through that, a number of hours, until the middle of the day. And at that time, Swarup Damodar Goswami, he began to sing in the Oriyan language. He began to sing 2 lines in the Oriyan language. Trying to remember. How I have been burned by Cupid, but now, yes. Seito Parananatha Hoinu. Seito Parananatha Hoinu. My Parananath means my Prananath, the Lord of my very life, the Lord of my existence. This is spoken by Srimati Radharani at Kurukshetra, the mood of what Mahaprabhu was singing. Of Swarup Damodar Goswami singing, and it completely overwhelmed Mahaprabhu's heart with remembrance of the exchange at Kurukshetra between Radha and Krishna. And then he said, Seito Parananatha Hoinu Juri Genu at the end of the next line. Not Smara Garala Kandaram, that's different. But it's the same meaning that Jaha Lagi Madana Dahana. I've been burnt by Cupid. Madana Dahana Juri Genu. Yes. So, that Lord of my life, that Parananatha, now I have attained him again, for whose absence, for whose separation, I was being burned by Cupid in my heart. So, that incited Mahaprabhu, and then he really began. There's such a vivid description of how Mahaprabhu just went completely, what's the word? Astonishing. Just everyone was, and Jagannath was also astonished. And the thing is that the reciprocation between Mahaprabhu and Jagannath was exactly the reciprocation between Krishna and Radha. So Mahaprabhu is Radha, Jagannath is Krishna. And Mahaprabhu, as Radha, is testing Jagannath again and again and again. That, have you remembered us, Vrijabasis? Now are you remembering us, or have you forgotten us? And then Mahaprabhu would go behind the cart, so Jagannath would not be able to see, and then Jagannath would stop his cart. And then Mahaprabhu, yes, now he's remembering. So in this way, this incredible reciprocation between Jagannath and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Then they came to a place called Balagandi, I think. Balagandi is kind of midway in the whole, it's more than like 2.5 miles or something, the whole distance. And so that's the place where all the residents of Puri would bring their offerings. They prepared different types of, fruit offerings and everything else. They prepared it, and in all directions actually, even from behind Jagannath, they all brought thousands and thousands of people bringing all of their offerings and offering them directly to Jagannath, who's right there. They're offering to him. And so Lord Jagannath, he was taking all of this prasada, all of this bhog, and distributing his prasad to all through those offerings. So at that time, when this temporary halt of the movement of the Ratha Yatra carts, then Mahaprabhu went into a very nearby garden. And Mahaprabhu was in such an exalted mood of the internal moods of Srimati Radhika. He was completely, deeply absorbed in all those moods of Srimati Radhika that he was experiencing and tasting as he was dancing and singing. So now he laid down on a platform just underneath a tree in that garden, and he just laid down with some fatigue in his body, transcendental fatigue. And all the Vaishnavas who were also dancing with him, they also found different trees and they laid down underneath all the different trees. So now, what occurred is the fulfillment of the plan of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, that now the king, Maharaj Prataparudra, would get his chance. And when Mahaprabhu was in this deeply absorbed mood, then the king of Puri, following the instructions of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, dressed himself in very simple Vaishnava dress, with no kingly paraphernalia, nothing. And then he entered into the garden, and then he approached Mahaprabhu, and sitting at his feet, he began to massage Mahaprabhu's beautiful legs. And as he was massaging his legs, he began to sing. And what did he sing, Maharaj? Huh? Gopi Geet. He sang Gopi Geet to Mahaprabhu. And this beautiful description is given in the chapter 14. Chapter 13 is the completion of the first half, but chapter 14 continues from that point on, where the king entered into the garden and began to sing and massage Mahaprabhu's beautiful legs. So now I'm going to read the actual description of that meeting of the king. It's not very long. So the first verse of this 14th chapter, the actual chapter is titled Performance of the Vrindavan Pastimes. Performance of the Vrindavan Pastimes. And so there's a very short summary here of this chapter, because we're also going to read this chapter on Thursday. Because Thursday is what? Yes, Thursday is Lakshmi Vijay festival. And that chapter, our Gurudev has told many times that that's practically one of the highest discussions between Swarup Damodar and Mahaprabhu in the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it's discussing all the different bhavs and moods of the gopis. So we're going to read that on Thursday. But in the beginning of this chapter is this description here. So now here's the summary of the chapter. Dressing himself as a Vaishnava, Maharaj Prataparudra entered the garden of Balagandhi alone. And he began reciting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. He then took the opportunity to massage the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Lord, in his ecstatic love for Krishna, immediately embraced the king, and thus he bestowed mercy upon him. So when there was an offering of prasadam in the garden, Lord Chaitanya also partook of it. And after this, when Lord Jagannath's Rath car stopped moving, King Prataparuja called for many elephants to pull it, but they were unsuccessful. So, seeing this, Lord Chaitanya began to push the car from behind with his head. And the car began moving. So then, the devotees began pulling the car with ropes. Now, near the Gundicha temple is a place known as Aitota. This place was fixed up for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to rest in. And when Lord Jagannath was seated at Sundarachal, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw it as Vrindavan. Sundarachal means the Gundicha. He performed sporting pastimes in the water of the lake known as Indradumna. And for 9 continuous days during Ratha Yatra, the Lord remained at Sundarachal. And then on the 5th day, Panchami, Hera Panchami, on the 5th day, he and Swarup Damodar observed the pastimes of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. During that time, there was much talk about the pastimes of the gopis. So when the Rath was again being drawn and the chanting resumed, 2 devotees from Kulinagram, Ramananda Vasu and Satyaraj Khan, were requested to bring silk ropes every year for the Ratha Yatra ceremony. So that's the summary. Yes. So now in the first verse, Srila Kaviraj Goswami always composes a Sanskrit verse to give the gist of that chapter. And this is the verse that he composed, text 1. Gora Pashyan Atma Vrindai Shri Lakshmi Vijayotsavam Shrutva Gopi Rasolasam Krishna Premna Nanarta Saha. Now accompanied by his personal devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the festival known as Lakshmi Vijayotsava. And there he discussed the super excellent love of the gopis. So, just by hearing about them, he became very pleased and he danced in great ecstatic love for the Lord. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Danya Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktagan Jaya Shroti Gana Jar Gaura Prana Dhana. Shroti Gana means all the readers and who are hearing. And they have accepted Mahaprabhu, Jar, Gaur Pranadan. They have accepted Gaur as their Pranadana, the very life and soul. E Mata Prabhu Achen Premara Avesh Heno Kale Prataparudra Korila Praveshe. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was resting in ecstatic love, Maharaj Prataparudra entered the garden. And following Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya's instructions, the king had given up his royal dress, and he now entered the garden in the dress of a Vaishnava. So, there's a tiny little purport here. Prabhupada couldn't resist. He says, sometimes members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, especially in the Western countries, they find it difficult to approach people to distribute books because people are unfamiliar with the traditional saffron robes of the devotees. So the devotees have therefore inquired whether they can wear European and American dress before the general public. Can you give her the Chaitanya Charitamrita? Hari Bol! Give the Chaitanya Charitamrita to her so she can actually read the Russian translation of this chapter 14, Madhya Lila. So, the devotees have inquired, Remember those letters? We lived this pastime, starting in 1971, when they started to write letters asking Srila Prabhupada if they could dress. Remember that? In 71. Oh, you were there in 72. Well, it started at the end of 71. It started at the end of 71. I was in Madison, Wisconsin in the winter. And that's when we first heard how the devotees were going door to door with the Krishna books, big boxes. What's his name again? Buddhimanta, yeah. Is that 73? No, because I heard about it in the beginning of 72, like January 72. Yeah. And then that whole, even prior to that, devotees had been asking Prabhupada, you know, is it okay we can go to the airports and dress in regular Western dress and so forth. So there was, you know, letters coming from Prabhupada over a period of many months, probably more like a year. Those letters kept on coming. So, Prabhupada is saying that they have inquired whether they can wear European and American dress before the general public. Now, from the instructions given to King Prataparudra by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, we can understand that we may change our dress in any way to facilitate our service. Even ho ho ho. So when our members change their dress to meet the public or to introduce our books, they are not breaking the devotional principles. The real principle is what? What is the real principle? Is to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. And if one has to change into regular Western dress for this purpose, there should be no objection. So just to add to that, even as far back as 1967, when they were opening up the San Francisco temple and so forth, at that time, they were sometimes getting engagements for Srila Prabhupada to go to different venues, and sometimes it was a television program or a radio station or some particular, you know, intellectual people that he was meeting. So Prabhupada at that time, and there's photos of this, Prabhupada told the other devotees who were with him to dress in suit and tie, but to wear tilak. They already had shaven heads. Yeah, it was getting around the time when they decided, okay, we should shave our heads. But Prabhupada said, for preaching, you can also wear the dress which is accepted as the formal, you know, respectable, as a respectable gentleman, suit and tie. But you must wear tilak. So Prabhupada, even with him accompanying him, they started to do that. All right, now text 6. So Maharaj Prataparudra was so humble that with folded hands, he first took permission from all the devotees before he was going to attempt to go to Mahaprabhu. And then with great courage, he fell down and touched the lotus feet of the Lord. Can you imagine what kind of courage that must have taken? Because he had no idea, but he's following the instructions of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lay on the raised platform with his eyes closed in ecstatic love and emotion, the king very expertly began to massage his legs. The king began to recite verses about the Ras Leela from Srimad Bhagavatam. Ras Leelar Shlok Padi Korena Stavan Jayati Te Dikam Adhyaya Koren Patan. He recited the chapter beginning with the words Jayati Te Dikam. And in the purport, Prabhupada says these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 31, constitute what is known as the Gopi Gita. We heard that long time before we came under the shelter of Srila Gurudev. And then we learned that there are 5 Gitas. But the Gopi Gita is the quintessential pinnacle, practically. So he began to sing. Jayati te dikam janmana braja shrayata indira shashva atrahi. Let's see. Okay. Dayata drishyatam dikshutavakas Jayati te dikam janmana braja shrayata indira shashvadatrahi dayata drishyatam dikshutavakas tvaidritasavas tvam vichinvate. The gopis said, "O beloved." And when are the gopis singing this? When and at what point in the Ras Leela chapters are the gopis singing this song called the Gopi Gita? What had taken place before that? Yeah. Had what? Yeah, yeah.
So then the last person here, the last again.
And then what happened in the middle of the rasa dance? Tell. Yeah, he left. And all of a sudden the gopis noticed Krishna's gone. And they also noticed, and there's a particular gopi, which he also took along with him. So anyway, the whole description is there in those first 2 chapters. That means chapter 29 and chapter 30. So then in chapter 30, they're searching for Krishna in the forest, and they're asking the trees and the creepers and the animals and so forth, "Have you seen our Krishna?" And they became mad, completely stark raving, transcendentally mad. And they began to enact Krishna's pastimes with one another. The gopis, they would take different roles. One would play Krishna and the other would play Putana. And they began to, like, the one gopi is sucking on the breast one gopi is playing Krishna, who is sucking on the breast of Putana, and the other gopi is playing Putana. So one by one, they began to madly enact all of Krishna's Vraj pastimes from his childhood and so forth. And then they came upon what in the forest? Huh? Footprints. Yes. And they saw, oh, here's Krishna's footprints. But there's also some smaller footprints next to his. And now, there were two sets of footprints, and then the other set disappeared. And they said, oh, Krishna must have picked her up to carry her. And now they began to think, who was this gopi? So fortunate that amongst all of us, Krishna took her. So then they went further and further, and then they saw that gopi. That gopi is none other than Srimati Radharani, and that gopi was doing what? That gopi was sitting and crying and weeping, and her condition, when they saw her condition, then they understood, oh, her separation is millions of times greater than ours. And then they began to comfort her. And then at that time, then they began to walk together in the forest, searching for Krishna, and they came upon the bank of the Yamuna. Yes, they came upon the bank of the Yamuna. So there, at the bank of the Yamuna, they sat on the soft sand of the Yamuna in the full moonlight, and now they began to sing their song from the core of their heart, cores of their hearts. So the king, knowing what are Mahaprabhu's moods, he began to sing this Gopi Geet. He sang the first verse, which begins, we read the first verse. And so, here's the translation of the first verse. Jayati Tedi Kam. The gopis said, O beloved Krishna, your birth in the land of Vraja has made it exceedingly glorious. And thus Indira, the goddess of fortune, always resides here. It is only for your sake that we, your devoted servants, maintain our lives. We have been searching everywhere for you, so please show yourself to us. So in this way, the gopis began to sing. I'll just read a couple. Sharaduda shaye sadhu jata sat sarasi jodara shri mushadrisha Suratanatate shulkadasika varada nignato neha kim vadha. O Lord of love, in beauty your glance excels the whorl of the finest, most perfectly formed lotus within the autumn pond. O bestower of benedictions, you are killing the maid servants who have given themselves to you freely without any price. Isn't this murder? Vishajalapyayad vyala rakshashad varshamarutad vaidyutanalat vrishamayat majad vishvato bhayad rishabhate vayam rakshita muhu. O greatest of personalities, you have repeatedly saved us from all kinds of danger, from poisoned water, from the terrible man-eater, Agha, from the great rains, from the wind demon, from the fiery thunderbolt of Indra, from the bull demon, and from the son of Maya, Danava. Text 4. Nakalu gopika nandano bhavan akila dehinam antaratmadrik vikanasartito vishvaguptaye saka udevan satvatam kule. You are not actually the son of the gopi Yashoda, O friend, but rather you are the indwelling witness in the hearts of all embodied souls. And because Lord Brahma prayed for you to come and protect the universe, you have now appeared in the Satvata dynasty. Virachita bayam vrishni duryate charanam iyusham sampriter bayat samsriter bhayat karasororuham kanta kamadam shirashi dehina shri karagraham. O best of the Vrishnis, your lotus-like hand, which holds the hand of the goddess of fortune, that hand grants fearlessness to those who approach your feet out of fear of material existence. O lover, please place that wish-fulfilling lotus hand on our heads. Vrajajanartihan virayoshitam nijajanasmaya dvamshana smita bhajasake bhavat kinkarismano jalaruhananam charudarshaya. O you who destroy the suffering of Vraja's people, O hero of all women, your smile shatters the false pride of your devotees. Please, dear friend, accept us as your maid servants and show us your beautiful lotus face. Pranata dehinam papakarshanam trinacharanugam sriniketanam panipanarpitam te padambujam krinukucheshuna krindi hrichayam. Your lotus feet destroy the past sins of all embodied souls who surrender to them. Those feet follow after the cows in the pastures, and they are the eternal abode of the goddess of fortune. Since you once put those feet on the hoods of the great serpent Kaliya, please place them upon our breasts and tear away the lust in our hearts. Madhuraya gira valguvakyaya buddhamanogyaya pushkarikshana vidikaririma viramuhyatir adharasiduna pyayayasvana. O lotus-eyed one, your sweet voice and charming words, which attract the minds of the intelligent, they are bewildering us more and more. Our dear hero, please revive your maid servants with the nectar of your lips. Tava, and here's the verse. This at this point in the singing of the king to Mahaprabhu, when he sang this verse. This is the 9th shloka, which begins with Tava Katamritam. Then Mahaprabhu, he sat up and he embraced the king. So I'm reading the verse, and then I'm going to go back to the text of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadattatam Bhuvi Grinanti Je Burida Jana Tavakatamritam, the nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those who are suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions, and they bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world, and they are filled with spiritual power. Certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. Yes. So the king began to recite verses about the Ras Leela from Srimad Bhagavatam, and he recited the chapter beginning with the words Jayati Te Dikam. Now, Shunite Shunite Prabhur Santosh Apar. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these verses, he was pleased beyond limits. And he said again and again, Bolo Bolo Bali Prabhu, Bole Bar Bar. Again and again he said, go on reciting, go on reciting. And then came the verse, Tavakatam Ritam Shloka Raja Jay Padilo Utti Prema Veshe Prabhu Alingana Koilo. As soon as the king recited the verse beginning with the words Tavakatam Ritam, the Lord arose in ecstatic love and he embraced him. And Tumi more dile bahu amulya ratan, more kichu dite nahi dilun alingan. Upon hearing the verse recited by the king, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have given me invaluable gems, but I have nothing to give you in return. Therefore I am simply embracing you. Eta bali se shlok pade bar bar dui janar ange kampa netre jaladar. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he began to recite the same verse again and again. And both the king and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were trembling, and tears were flowing from their eyes. Now Krishnadas Kaviraj lists the verse here. Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kalmashapaham shavana mangalam srimadattatam bhuvi nigrananti je burida jana. So after reciting this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately embraced the king and he cried, Burida, Burida Bali Kore Alingan. You know what Burida means? Most munificent. Because at the end of this verse, Bhuvi Grananti Je Burida Jana. The gopis are saying that that person who chants, who spread the message of Godhead, they are certainly the most munificent welfare workers. And so now Mahaprabhu keeps on reciting this again and again. Burida, Burida, you are most munificent. He said, you are most munificent. So at this point, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not know who the king was. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy was aroused because of the king's previous service, and therefore, without even asking who he was, the Lord immediately bestowed his mercy upon him. E deka Chaitanyara kripa mahabal tar anusandhana vina karai safal. How powerful is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without even inquiring about the king, the Lord made everything successful. So now in the purport, Prabhupada is now explaining this, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is so powerful that it acts automatically. If a person renders loving service to Krishna, it never goes in vain. I'm again reading from there. This is verse 16 of the chapter. So, if a person renders loving service to Krishna, it never goes in vain. It is recorded in a spiritual account. Did you know that you have a spiritual account? Do you know that? You know that, Achyuta? You have a spiritual account. Like bank account, you have a spiritual account. And here it is said that if a person renders loving service to Krishna, it never goes in vain. It is recorded in a spiritual account. And in due time, it will fructify. And this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, verse 40 of the 2nd chapter. Neha Bikramanashosti Pratyavaya Navidyate Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bayat. What does that mean? Neha Abikramanashosti. In this endeavor, what endeavor? To perform this dharma. Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya. This dharma, which is Atma Dharma, of the soul, of the jiva, which is bhakti. He said that even a little bit of advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Because why? Because nothing will be lost ever. In this endeavor, there's no loss. And it will not be diminished either. There's no diminution. Just a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has particularly bestowed upon all fallen souls in this age the most potent method of devotional service, Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name. And whoever takes to it through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is immediately elevated to the transcendental position. So, as the Srimad Bhagavatam recommends in the 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse 32, Yagyai samkirtana prayayir yajantihi sumedasha. A student of the Krishna consciousness, a student of Krishna consciousness, must receive Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. And then his devotional service will quickly succeed. This was the case with King Prataparudra. So, one has to be noticed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And a little service with sincere efforts will convince the Lord that one is a proper candidate for returning home back to Godhead. See how encouraging are Prabhupada's words? So at first, Maharaj Prataparudra did not have a chance to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but when the Lord saw that the king was serving Lord Jagannath as a menial sweeper, the Lord's mercy upon the king became a solid fact. When Maharaj Prataparudra in the dress of a Vaishnava was serving the Lord, then the Lord did not even inquire who he was. Rather, he had compassion upon him and he embraced him. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants to point out that nothing could compare to the Lord's mercy toward Maharaj Prataparudra, and therefore he uses the word Deka means just see. And Chaitanyar Kripa Mahabal, how powerful is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is also confirmed by Prabodhananda Saraswati. Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaiba Bhavatam. And this is the end of one verse that quite often Prabhupada quotes this verse from Chaitanya Chandramrita, verse 5. Even a little of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, it serves as a great asset for spiritual advancement. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement must be spread through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Srila Rupa Goswami experienced the mercy and the magnanimity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, what did he say? What did Rupa Goswami say? All together, Namo Mahabhadanyaya,
Namo Mahavadanyaya,
Krishna Prema Pradayate,
Krishna Prema Pradayate,
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya,
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya,
Namni Gaura Trishe Namaha.
Namne Gaura Tishe.
So Rupa Goswami, when he experienced the mercy of Mahaprabhu, he spontaneously composed this verse. And what is this verse telling? I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is more magnanimous than any other avatar, even Krishna himself, because he is bestowing freely what no one else has ever given, pure love of Krishna. So Srila Lochan Das Thakur has also sung, Parama Karuna Pahudvijana Nitai Gaura Chandra. The two brothers Nitai and Gaura are so kind that no one can compare to them. And similarly, Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Brajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Sutta Hoilo Se Balaram Hoilo Nitai Dina Hina Jata Chilo Hariname Udharilo Tar Sakshi Jagai Madhai. Just to deliver all the sinful persons of this age by propagating the chanting of the holy name, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram have advented as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Jagai and Madhai are evidence of their success. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special mission is the deliverance of all fallen souls in Kali Yuga. And devotees of Krishna must persistently seek the favor and the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to become fit to return home back to Godhead. I'm reading that last sentence again. Devotees of Krishna must persistently seek the favor, persistently seek the favor and the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to become fit to return home back to Godhead. So, finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, who are you? Who are you? You have done so much for me. All of a sudden you have come here and you have made me drink the nectar of the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And then the king replied, my Lord, I am the most obedient servant of your servants. It is my ambition that you will accept me as the servant of your servants. Now, Prabhupada writes a short purport and he says, the greatest achievement for a devotee is to become a servant of the servants of the Lord. Actually, no one should desire to become the direct servant of the Lord. That is not a very good idea. When Prahlad Maharaj was offered a benediction by Nrsingadev, Prahlad rejected all kinds of material benedictions, but he prayed to become the servant of the servants of the Lord. When Dhruva Maharaj was offered a benediction by Kuver, the treasurer of the demigods, Dhruva could have asked for unlimited material opulence, but he simply asked for the benediction of becoming the servant of the servants of the Lord. Kolavecha Sridhar was a very poor man, but when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give him a benediction, he also prayed to the Lord to be allowed to remain a servant of the servants of the Lord. So the conclusion is that being the servant of the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the highest benediction that one can desire. End of Prabhupada's purport. So, now, Tabe Mahaprabhu Tare Aishwarya de Kaila Koreha na Kohibe E Nishad Korila. Now what did Mahaprabhu do for the king? At that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed some of his divine opulences to the king, and he forbade him to disclose this to anyone. Gaur Premanandi. Now, although within his heart, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew everything that was happening, but externally he did not disclose it. And nor did he disclose that he knew that he was talking with King Prataparudra. So seeing the Lord's special mercy upon King Prataparudra, the devotees praised the king's good fortune, and their minds became open and blissful. So then, submissively offering prayers to the devotees with folded hands and offering obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the king went outside. And after this, Vaninath Rai brought all kinds of prasadam, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted lunch with the devotees. So, so for the verse where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is telling that when everyone, all the devotees, when they saw how Mahaprabhu had given his special mercy to King Prataparudra, the devotees praised the king's good fortune, and their minds became open and blissful. And Prabhupada writes a short purport here, very instructive purport. He says, this is the characteristic of a pure Vaishnava. He is never envious if another devotee receives the mercy and the strength of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A pure Vaishnava is very happy to see a person elevated in devotional service. But unfortunately, there are many so-called Vaishnavas who become envious to see someone actually recognized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is a fact that no one can preach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message without receiving the special mercy of the Lord. This is known to every Vaishnava. Yet, there are some envious people who cannot tolerate the expansion of this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world, and they find fault with the preacher who has spread this movement, and they do not praise him for the excellent service he has rendered in fulfilling Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Prabhupada holds back a little in this purport, but in another one, he calls a spade a spade. So in this way, this beautiful Ratha Yatra festival season, this is one of the crowning moments of Mahaprabhu's Ratha Yatra Leela, giving the mercy to King Prataparudra. And as we already read in the summary of this chapter, that this chapter is also going to tell the amazing pastime of the Lakshmi Vijay festival on the 5th day, Hera Panchami, 5th day, Panchami. And then we will hear the most extraordinary discussion, which, as I already said, Gurudev actually said this is practically one of the highest points in the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. As Swarup Damodar Goswami is describing the moods of the gopis, as opposed to Lakshmi Devi's moods like that. So we will finish our reading here today, and we will pray for the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we can one day become a servant of his servants. And not only that, but a servant of his servants' servants. And not only that, but a servant of his servants' 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 servants. There's actually a verse that tells that, 4 different levels. And you know, I just remembered something. I just remembered, it just came into my mind, the vision that I had, of Srila Prabhupada, the memory, when Srila Prabhupada was sitting on the Vyasasan in the Detroit temple room. First time that I saw him. First time I saw him. In 1971, month of June I think it was, middle to end of June. And he was there for 3 days, and on the evening of the 2nd day, then the devotees who were going to receive initiation from him, they were told to sit in the temple room, because it's a very small temple room. It's probably like the size of this room, not much bigger than this. And then there was a vestibule, like a hall, outside of there. But the devotees squeezed in, and even some devotees on the outside looking through the front windows. And yes, and I remember that evening Srila Prabhupada was lecturing, and he was referring to the painting that had been put on the wall. In those days, they were doing these gigantic paintings to adorn all of the walls of the new temples that Srila Prabhupada had opened up. And so in this way, Srila Prabhupada had instructed them to paint these big, huge paintings, and they were replicas that the devotees were painting in New York of the Brijbasi prints that they had in those days. You know, they were like prints, and then they copied those prints. So this was the copy of Radha, Krishna, and the Ashtasakis in a garden, and you know, the gopis are on both sides of Radha and Krishna, the Ashtasakis, the 8 principal gopis. They're playing musical instruments. One is playing a tambura, one is playing mridanga, like this, and they're singing. And so that was about 8 feet long. Yeah, 7 or 8 feet long. And it was probably about 5 or 6 feet high. And it was right opposite where Prabhupada, like if Prabhupada's sitting here, and it's on the wall right there. And I can remember, I can't remember much from that. There is a recording of his lecture, but one thing really stood out in my mind. That Srila Prabhupada was referring to the painting. And he was saying that this is the spiritual world. And he said, in the spiritual world, it is completely the opposite of the material world. He said, in the material world, everyone wants to become more and more and more the master of the master of the master. But in the spiritual world, it is a complete opposite. Everyone wants to become more and more the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, 1,000 times removed. So I remembered that. And then he also mentioned one thing. He was referring to the Ras Leela from seeing this painting. And Srila Prabhupada said, this is the goal of the Krishna consciousness movement. That all living entities will be able to go back to home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world, and join in the rasa dance of Radha and Krishna. I remember that. So in this way, this is our good fortune that we have come in contact with this Krishna consciousness movement, with Srila Prabhupada, with our Guru Varga, and all of our Rupa Nuga Gaudiya line, that now we have opportunity. And we have to utilize this opportunity. And if we are sincere, then Krishna, he will arrange. Yes. So, and one day, special mercy will come to us, that we will be accepted and that we will be eligible to be elevated to the spiritual world. So I pay my Dandavat Pranams to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad for contributing this incredible literature for the benefit of all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas for the next 420 something thousand years of this remaining Dhanya Kali Yuga. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam Ki Jai. Jai Sri Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Jai Maharaj Prataparudra, receiving the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Ki Jai. Gopi Gita Ki Jai. Ratha Yatra Prasanga Ki Jai. Mahaprabhu's dancing at the Ratha Yatra festival Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sing loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakrajiu Ki Jai. Shri Rath Yatra Prasanga Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Brindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satchavachai Namo Nama Vansha Kalpadurubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.